Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Take It to Trial. You know, you're in the right place where there is no filters, no fluff, just facts, right? So you can be the judge. I am your host, Sweet Pea Diamond, and today officially starts the kickoff of a 3-year long trial awaiting for a trial against Karina Cooper, right? Oh, excuse me. I know I got my morning coffee, right? I'm still kind of waking up, but I do have it, right? My Mickey D's coffee that I so love and enjoy. It's cheap and it's definitely for me. For all you guys that's coming back, welcome back. I definitely appreciate your support in helping me out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. So I'm gonna start off by getting us some knowledge in regards to this case that we're going to be reviewing. And we're going to be doing gavel to gavel coverage. They did complete the jury selection process yesterday. So we have 12 jurors seated and we have two alternates, right? So this trial is officially underway and we got it, the timeline packed with bullets, and so we got Snapchats and we got deleted messages and we have betrayal. So we have this all wrapped up in one. And I guess at the end of the day, the main question is what happened to Ray, right? So let's start off here because they're not currently in court. We are looking, I am watching and monitoring when they're going to start. Today we'll be doing opening statements. So that's one good thing. Thank you, Benny. Good morning, Benny. Good morning. Yeah, we're going to get this party started. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. I want to do something here. So today, as we're going along through the trial, I'll be putting stuff in the chat. Definitely engage in the chat. That would be awesome. I'll read your comments on stream as we go along with your thoughts. In regards to the questions, I have us like many questions for us to answer because this trial is just like at some points in times I couldn't even understand what the defense was arguing. I mean, you all know that she was found on top of his body when the police came in. So there's that for that portion that we have recently found out. So let's go into what led up to this trial, right? Let's break it down from the beginning. So you know exactly what we got here, right? And how we got here. So on June 21st, Ryan Cooper is found dead in his home, in his recliner, right? Someplace that he should have been safe and okay. There were 2 bullets to his face. There was no sign of forced entry. His wife, Karina, reportedly was found sitting on top of him when the police arrived, right? Which is, whoa, like, okay. I don't know why she was sitting on top of him. I don't know if she gonna testify why she was sitting on top of him. I don't know if she was in distress at the time. I don't know if she was trying to do CPR. Was she trying to bring him back? I have no clue. Was she trying to make sure he was dead? But if somebody is shot in the face twice, you can imagine what that scene looks like, right? So considering that we can imagine what that scene might look like and what his body might look like at that point in time, I wouldn't even understand what would be reasonable. Yeah, right. What would be reasonable? Sitting on his poor lifeless body. Right, Benny says, sitting on his poor lifeless body. Did she pull him? No. No, I think she just jumped right on top of him, Benny. Yeah, so you know, right there it makes it like so weird. And remember, we have no forced entry. So there was no break-in. And if any of you are not aware, their 3 minor children were still in the home. So, I mean, like the kids are upstairs. So what happened from them finding his body in July 2021, Karina, she wasn't arrested. There were no charges, but then an investigation was still active kind of behind the scenes because they were trying to figure out exactly what happened to Ray. So then in February 2024, now we're talking about almost 3 years after he was murdered, because it was ruled as a homicide. Boom. Karina is arrested and charged with first-degree murder nearly 3 years afterwards, right? So when they arrested her 2 months later in April of 2024, Huston Danker is also arrested, and prosecutors say he was in on it, right? He acted in concert with Karina. And his trial is going to start in August. It has been postponed a couple times, but his trial is going to start in August. And allegedly, he admitted to assisting her, right? And then I heard he recanted his statement. So we'll see how that plays into this trial, or what he tries to, if he testifies. I don't know if he's going to testify against her in this trial, because remember, he gave a statement and then he recanted it. So I'm just watching the courtroom action for us, okay? So now, here we go. We're in March 2025. The judge moves Karina's trial to Lynn County due to a pretrial publicity. So her trial is not even taking place in the county where it happened in, I believe it's pronounced Tamar County. So they moved it to Lynn County. And here we are, July 1st, which was yesterday. The jury selection wraps up. We have 12 jurors and we have 2 alternatives. Today we'll begin the opening statements. And as I stated before, the Huston Danker, who was acting in concert with her, his trial is supposed to begin on August 12th, 2025. Now that's if it's not pushed back again. So we'll keep an eye out on that, because I really think that what happens in this trial may determine, he may decide to take a plea deal or something like that in order to avoid the trial. Because if they are convicted of this crime, it is a mandatory life sentence without parole. So if you've been following the timeline so far, I do drop in the chat, calendar in the chat, and let me know which moment you think will change everything in regards to how we're going along in this case as we're listening to the opening statements. If you have any thoughts in regards to that portion, give me 1 second, because I do want everybody to kind of tell me, what do y'all think in this timeline that we have here? Remember, it took them almost 3 years to actually decide that they wanted to press charges against her. So if you know something that might have changed things, I have a little hint here. They begin with messages. So, and these are messages that the defense is trying really, really hard not to have played or put into court. They had a couple pre-trial motions June 20th in regards to these messages, and they do not want them to come in. But so before we go any further, I do want y'all to watch how the media has been framing this case. I do have a clip from Court TV breaking down exactly what's gonna unfold in this courtroom. I want you to watch it closely as we do this. And I think I put the calendar question. We'll do that a little bit later after we have a little bit more details from the court in regards to the opening statements and things like that. But watch this video closely, because I want to know if you think that they're being fair, or are they full of crap, and if you think this is the media spin. So I'll put it in the chat room as we're watching this video. It's not long, it's just a couple seconds, but it kind of gives us a look into what they are claiming. And you know, the media can kind of spin things, right? Because it seems pretty gruesome that somebody is laying on somebody's lifeless body when the police are called in, right? At least in my opinion. Because somebody at the house had to call the police. I don't know if they called the police from the house or somebody heard the shots around and they just kind of like walked in on Karina on top of him. But just painting the scene, you know, of course, it caused a media frenzy, right? And we have a lot of people that are in. So I'm in Iowa that are looking at this, and it's a real buzz. And of course, it's getting a lot of media attention. So I just want y'all to look at this video. I'm gonna put this this question in the chat for us, and y'all watch closely. And let's play the game of what we think in regards to the way the media has presented this. And even if you're coming in at a different time and you want to, if you're coming in at a different time and you want to look at the chat question and answer it after we get more details and information as we're getting the opening statements, definitely please go ahead and actually answer the chat question. Because it's interesting to know the way the media can start spinning stuff on us and making us believe one thing when it's something totally different, right? Let me get ready to share this for you, because I found this kind of interesting the way I heard it. Let me start it over for us and I'll get the volume together.
I do want to tell you about Court TV's next live trial starting next week, and we're calling this one the Widow's Words murder trial.
Prosecutors accused defendant Karina Cooper of fatally shooting her husband Ryan twice in the.
Now, just so you know, the reason why they're calling it the Widow's Words is because allegedly she has told 2 people that she wanted to shoot him in the face, and coincidentally, he was shot twice in the face. So is this coincidence or was this like cold calculated murder? And I guess that's the real twist in this, is because they're using her words of what she stated to 2 people. So we should have 2 witnesses. I expect that they're going to have 2 witnesses that's actually going to testify that these are things that Karina said to them. But let's continue.
Face, although no gun was ever recovered.
Now, as we gear up for this new trial to begin, let's take a closer look at the case. Police found 42-year-old Ryan Cooper shot and lying in a recliner chair. They were responding to a 911 call that came in at 4:35 a.m. Cooper had been.
And guys, just for the record, I do have the complaints, and we'll review over the complaints during some breaks or some sidebars or maybe even lunch as we're live in the courtroom. So y'all can be able to, and we'll read through them and see exactly how they made these arrests for her and for Houston.
Shot twice in the face. His wife, Karina, was sitting on top of him. There was no gun at the scene. Police did find a shell casing. Cooper's death was ruled a homicide, but it would be nearly 3 years until there was an arrest. In February of 2024, Karina Cooper was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. And 2 months later, Houston Danker was arrested and charged with first-degree murder for allegedly acting in concert with Cooper to kill her husband. According to the criminal complaint, 2 witnesses say that Cooper told them she wanted Ryan dead and that she could shoot him in the face. Cooper and Danker both pleaded not guilty. Ryan Cooper had 4 children and is described as a great father and a hardworking farmer who enjoyed having a beer with his friends.
Live coverage of that trial begins on Wednesday with opening statements. You will not want to miss this trial.
Okay, guys. So what do you guys think? I know it's kind of hard. It's kind of early for us, but and what you've been hearing, do you think that the media is like really putting a spin on this right now at this point in time? that would be my only thing, right? Is the media spinning this to make it more, salacious so we can, the drama behind it. Like, I find it so hard to know that she was sitting on top of him. And I wonder if they're going to have, like, I'm sure that they're going to have a police officer or the first responders actually, testify to something like this in regards to it. But I don't know. You guys tell me. I have no clue. So now we heard what was being reported, right? So we're gonna dig into a little bit more while we wait on the court to start up. You say, Benny says, nope, it is salacious on its own, right? I don't know. I'm like traumatized. They're like, whoa. Just the whole fact of her, telling somebody this and then this coincidence where something, actually happens. So let's see here. So what is the state saying, right? What is alleged in this whole incident? So I'll give you some of my theories, some things that I have found out in regards to this claim. This incident. So the state says Karina, like she just didn't snap, right? Like she plotted this. This is their whole reason why they charged her. She told people that she wanted Ryan gone. And she had help from Houston Danker, right? And there are all these deleted Snapchat messages that she has with Houston. And prosecutors say that prove that they had a plan. They say that she pulled the trigger and that she stayed at the scene like nothing even happened. Remember, they found her right on top of his body, so she didn't leave. She didn't run. She didn't try to say somebody broke in, anything like that. But the defense, they say, well, hold up. Those messages are out of context. And witnesses, they are so unreliable. And there's no smoking gun, right? They have no weapon. It was 2 shots fired and they only found 1 shell casing. So if you think that this was planned, let's drop a bomb up in the thing. If you think this is just smoke, let's drop some smoke signals. Because I don't know exactly what happened, but I'm sure in this trial, we're going to definitely find out. Let's see. The jury is in, right? 12 seated and 2 alternatives, right? Each side got 10 strikes yesterday, just to give y'all how they selected the jury. The trial will be happening in Lynn County, of course, because they had it changed over. Now we're expecting to be in this trial for about 10 days. We'll probably we won't see any autopsy. We do have minors that's going to be testifying. So it's definitely because they're minors that the media is not going to be able to stream the coverage live for that. So of course they have media rules in regards to that portion, but it's to my understanding that the minors will be testifying. So I'm still watching the courtroom to see where we're at. So just so y'all know, as we're watching this trial, just kind of moving forward, I'm looking to see what witnesses are saying that in regards to Karina saying that Ryan is dead. I'm looking for the Snapchats that the prosecutors claim link Karina. I keep calling her Katrina. Y'all gotta apologize. I apologize. Karina and Danker in regards to creating this murder. The forensics, right? The bullets to the face. But was there a struggle? Was he just sitting there asleep? things of that nature. So those are what I'm being looking for in regards to it. Now, also Karina's behavior at the scene. Did she show shock, or was it something darker? So these are the things that I'll be reminding y'all on in regards to as we're going through the trial. For us to be looking for. What are these witnesses saying? Are they going to get these Snapchat messages in? Because the judge said he wasn't going to rule on it until later into the trial started. And then in regards to the forensics, like the bullets to the face, and was there a struggle? Did he fight back? So those are the things that we'll be looking for as we are unpacking this case. Let's see, and definitely let me know. This is very interactive. You know, we are the judges here while we're watching this case, and we're gonna unpack and look and see if we can get justice, you know, right, for Ryan. Let me check the courtroom and see where we're at. Okay, it looks like opening statements have started. Y'all know I love me some TiVo time, right? TiVo time. I tell you. So we're not gonna have much TiVo time because we starting on time because we wanted to get right into the courtroom in regards to this. So just look into the chat, hang out with us. I appreciate everybody coming and being here. And we'll look at those complaints as we have breaks today. And we getting this party started in regards to our justice for Ryan. Let me get this set up for us, and then I am going to soon kind of like put us in the courtroom. Okay. Okay, so Benny says, let me read this before I move this thing. I'm still working out who her accomplice was to her. Lover or just someone who was infatuated with her to do the shooting and left her there to deal with with the popo. I don't know. Like I said in the last stream when we were setting up, I'm not considering him as her lover or something because I don't understand why he would go through this with her. Like I don't get it. And you're right. We're going to need to know what his relationship was to her. But I heard that these Snapchat messages show more than just a friendship. It shows the plot, and it shows that they were in this together and that their relationship was, you know, kind of intimate. So we'll see what comes out in these messages and what people say as we go along. Yes, Vinny, we are definitely, we have the opening statements. They are beginning, and I will be putting us into the courtroom so we can look at these opening statements. I'm getting breaking news. I don't know if anybody follows the Diddy trial, but with me, if you're a trial watcher, I'm pretty sure that you've been seeing all the things in regards to Diddy, right? So it would be neglectful for me not to let you guys know that he was found guilty on 2 of the charges. And I don't think that the guilty charge, from what I'm understanding, I'm seeing all this stuff come through my phone in regards to it. But maybe we can look at some news coverage in regards to Diddy a little later. Let's get into our trial that we're going to be covering for the next 10 days and see what the hell I want to say what the hell, so y'all excuse me. What the hell happened to Ryan in regards to this when they've been married and they got 3 kids, and what made her snap and decide, because I don't think it's money related. I heard something that, well, I don't know. Well, you know, people do something strange for a little bit of change, but I heard that he had like 600,000. I don't know if that's worth taking the man's life. Like, I don't. These people can be so weird sometimes. Like to hurt somebody, it's not taking much from anybody to do. Okay, so y'all let me know. As long as we don't have any volume issues, we should be good. Hopefully, we are streaming and we don't have any issues. Yes, yes. I'll look at the Diddy stuff. We'll do that on one of our breaks and kind of look at how the verdict was read. You know, it's all tweets, Benny. So I do know that I do love law and crimes coverage on it. So we'll take a look at what they say. Of course, you know, they're going to repeat it about 100 times today. So I'm pretty sure on any of our breaks, we can tap in over there and see and get an update in regards to the Diddy thing in regards to a sentencing. But if I'm thinking what I'm thinking, Diddy coming home tomorrow. I don't know how anybody feels about it, but I haven't got the final word in regards to it, but it does look like they had a whole bunch of issues in regards to that RICO charge. I think that the feds they tried to do too much with this one, but this is definitely gonna let all the other people know that's out here trying to do things that are empowered. Hey, they are looking. They are looking. Okay, guys, taking us into these opening statements. Let's go.
Go ahead and have a seat. All right, we are on the record. We have counsel and parties present. We have the jury present. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you may recall yesterday I gave you kind of a little outline of the order of how we're going to proceed. First thing that we're going to do, though, is have the state provide a statement of the charge and plea. So, Mr. Kadaiga, I understand you'll be doing that?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, good morning. The trial information in this case reads as follows. In the Iowa District Court for Kama County, by the state of Iowa, the plaintiff versus Karina Cooper as the defendant. Trial information comes now Israel J. Kuriaga as Assistant Attorney General, and in the name of and by the authority of the state of Iowa, accuses the defendant of the crime of murder in the first degree. Said defendant, on or about June 18, 2021, in Kama County, Iowa, did murder Ryan Cooper in violation of sections 7 or 7.1, section 7 or 7.2, subsection 1, subsection A of the Iowa Code. This is a true information signed Israel J. Kuriaga, and to these charges, the defendant has entered a plea of not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kudiaga. Is the state prepared to give an opening statement?
We are.
You may whenever you're ready.
Remember those cases. Fucking remember those. No ifs, ands, or buts. Those 3:30 in the morning of June 18, 2021, to a woman whose husband will be lying dead within that hour. Now for that.
Hey guys, I just paused the audio feed. Are y'all? Could y'all put a one in the chat if y'all able to hear him? I know that they have it on Law and Crime also. Maybe I'll check Law and Crime's feed to see if it's better. But I'm hearing like a buzzing kind of noise as we're listening to him give his opening statements, and I really want to hear these opening statements. Give me a second. Let me see if Law and Crime's feed is better for us. Yeah, I thought so too on my end. I'm like, ew, it's like they don't have their microphone together. Let me see if I can find us another feed here. Oh my gosh, the second one is even worse. Oh my goodness. The second one is even worse, guys. I'm gonna put on the closed captioning to see if it'll help us.
Remember those cases. Fucking remember those. No ifs and no buts. And that woman responded absolutely 100%. That woman has already been introduced to you. She is the defendant, Karina Cooper. Folks, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the evidence in this case is going to take us back to June 18, 2021, in Tama County, Trail, Iowa. Going to be an evidence of a deliberate, calculated, and wholehearted plan carried out by Karina Cooper and her lover, that man who sent that message. Houston, Dayton. We're going to hear evidence of the two involved in a plot to murder her husband, calculated that they did together and ensured that he died that morning. You'll hear how Karina and Houston were engaged in secret affair. One that began when she started cutting Houston's hair in her salon. You hear that she was a hairdresser, and that Houston, Baker, was one of her clients. He was a young man, and then at some point, the two developed a relationship, a lasting relationship. You hear that as things escalated, the romance between the defendant and Mr. Cook and Mr. Baker developed. But they started big plans to eliminate Brian Cooper. So why not just leave him? We hear from the evidence that Karina stood nothing to gain from the divorce. The Ryan's money, the Ryan's financial assets were tied with the Cooper family. Brian Cooper was a farmer, hardworking farmer. Did you hear that he found harm to his family, his brother, Aaron Cooper, that his sister, Michelle, was part of this family business, and that all of Ryan's assets were therefore tied to the property. But, as you folks talk about motive during jury selection and some of the evidence that you look for as jurors in a case, as you try to connect those dots. When we talk about circumstantial evidence, you'll hear from the evidence here that she had a motive. Of course, she was in bed with Mr. Jenkins, but she was still today if Brian dropped dead. Brian had life insurance, totaling over $500,000. And so, if Brian dropped dead, the defendant gets a windfall. That was a powerful ticket. Let's walk you through what you hear about the night of the murder. On June 18, 2021, in the early hours of the morning, the defendant, Karina Cooper, at around 4:33 a.m., called 911. She said, the trial had been shot. Police responded. What they found was Ryan Cooper dead. 2 gunshot wounds to the left side of his face. Executed while he slept in his own living room on a recliner chair. Police investigated. And they took Karina Cooper's story. And the defendant told them a narrative that you will hear here in this courtroom, in the court calls of the following day. As the police looked at the story, they instantly recognized, as you will from the evidence in this case, that a story had holes. Holes bigger than your most favorite Swiss cheese. You hear the police tell you that there was no sign of forced entry. And she told them a story that someone had broken in or someone was in the house. And that she woke up to some sound. And that when she started walking around and investigating, when she woke up, around that time that she called it, that she immediately called. The story goes that she wakes up, she immediately calls, someone's in the house, and then she finds Brian, her husband, with a recliner, bleeding. But, as you'll see, there's no evidence of a break. There's no evidence of stolen items. There's no signs of a struggle. Just Brian, murdered in his home, and the defendant, awake and injured, in the bed, just down the hall, where she claimed she'd been sleeping next to their 2 children, and the family's highly protected Rottweiler ransom. Now, as police dig into her story, and as the evidence starts piling up, you will hear that Karina talked about motive. She also resented Brian Cooper. She resented him. She wanted him dead. She told him, I will shoot you in the face. That was months before. With dear friends who were present when she made these threats to Ryan Cooper. And some of those friends shrugged it off at that time. But she would end up shooting Ryan in the face, not once, but twice, with a lover. Now, I'll say to be clear, Karina did not plan this alone. The evidence will show up. She did not plan this alone. She did not act alone. She worked with someone. Houston Baker, aided and abetted the killing of Ryan Cooper. The evidence, as I told you, will show that Houston Baker wasn't alive long before Ryan died. That on the night, as I told you, the evidence will show that when she told the police, when the police finally dig into the digital evidence, and as you folks talked about this in jury selection, because of some of the evidence that you look for, that there was digital evidence in this case. Now you will hear that they tried to destroy that digital evidence. They tried to delete it. They tried to make it not be there so that it's not found. But you hear from experts. And some of you talk about hearing from experts. You hear from experts in this case. That as much as she thought this was the perfect crime, it wasn't. They found the perfect murder, but perfect murders only exist on TV. Because we have a sleeping victim, no witnesses, a dog, and so 110 pounds for flight and employee doing anything. And of course, a guilty alibi, sleeping with children. And an insurance payout, waiting in the wings. But that public crime unraveled once cops started looking at this evidence. You'll see text messages on this number.
Mr. Kadagi, I'm sorry, don't mean to stop you, but your microphone isn't turned on, so it's not picking up. There you go. That one doesn't pick up to the audio feed.
Thank you, Judge. Please do your job. Oh gosh, he just told him about the microphone. Thank you. Thank you. It is not working. It does not pick up on the feed. I'm so glad that he stopped him at this time to tell him that it's not picking up. Hopefully now we can have some better audio. Can you say, all right, y'all, let's see what we got here.
Is my understanding. So,
Folks, you'll see the trail of text messages between these two lovers. And you will see other digital evidence supporting her involvement and Ryan Cooper's involvement in the killing, and Houston Duncan's involvement in the killing of Ryan Cooper. Let's talk about that. Folks, you'll see evidence that way back, starting early that year, early 2021, a plan was being hatched by these two lovers, the defendant and Ryan Cooper, and Houston Duncan, to kill Ryan Cooper. You will see that there were messages as early as March when the defendant talks with Houston Duncan, and they're planning to be a family. You'll see by March, they're talking about having children together by sometimes the following year. And you'll see deleted and recovered messages between the defendant and Houston Denker talking about, well, we'll have a family. We can do IVF, you know. If we can't have a child naturally, let's do IVF. You will see that at some point it escalates. She tells Houston Denker, I fucking hate him, Ryan. You'll see sometimes in March, she sends this ominous text where she says, I'm wishing for a rogue semi-accident. Ryan was a farmer. I'm wishing for a rogue semi-accident. No survivors. Something takes him out. But the gods were watching Ryan Cooper at that time, and no semi-accidents happened. You'll see text messages where she says, I can't wait another summer. Can't happen. I can't wait another summer. Folks, you'll see that the day of Ryan's death approached in June. And especially on that morning, Karina Cooper tells Houston Denker in a text that calls herself his wife. And you'll see some charged sexual messages between them at that point, where he says, you know, very soon I will be sleeping with my hands on your crotch. And I paraphrase that because that's not the word he uses. But you will see those messages. And you can see the sexually charged messages between them at that point, that day, the last day that Ryan Cooper was alive. Now that night, we've talked about the story that you will see that Karina gives the officers. But when the officers find the deleted evidence, they find that the Snapchat messages that night at 3:30 in the morning, remember the 911 call in terms of timeline is 4:33. You'll also hear that before Karina Cooper calls 911, she calls Ryan Cooper's brother, Aaron Cooper. Now you'll hear that at 3:31 in the morning, an hour before the 911 call, the defendant and Houston Denker are talking on Snapchat. Folks, for those of you who don't know what Snapchat is, you'll hear that it's an app. It's an app on your phone that you can use to send messages. And the way it's set up is that the messages disappear or can be said to disappear once the other persons receive them. You have an expert who will take you through the Snapchat conversations. But you'll hear that they are snapping at 3:31 in the morning. And folks, you'll remember that Karina told the cops that she was asleep at that time. She would be asleep at that time. But they're snapping. And that's when that snap of remember those casings, fucking remember those, no ifs and or buts, is sent. 3:32. The day's messages of I love you, she says absolutely, 100% she will remember them. And then Houston Denker sends a text that says, when I leave your house, send me a text when I leave your house so that I can open it when I get back. And you'll see why that evidence in Snapchat is trying to determine its location. Now, folks, you'll also hear that earlier that evening, Houston's phone shows that he was driving back and forth from his residence, slightly past Ryan Cooper's residence, and back to his residence. And he didn't do this once, he didn't do this twice, he did this 3 times, where he was driving, passing the residence, coming back to his house, going back and coming back, going back, coming back. Estimating how long it will take for me to move back and forth. Now you hear that this text messages set the plan rolling that night. Houston Denker says in these text messages, I gotta get this shit done. And Karina's, the defendant's response is go. They say, phone's going down. And you'll hear from forensic experts, you'll hear testimony that people know that if you turn off your phone or if it's not moving or the movement of your phones can be detected in an investigation. So you'll hear them talk about phones going down. Karina saying, go. An hour later, the man she married will be lying dead in the recliner in the living room. Now, folks, as I said, you'll hear evidence that she said she was asleep until she heard a sound. She described this as a sound. But you'll hear that forensic evidence says that's not true. She wasn't asleep. You'll hear that at 4:13 in the morning, she watched something on her phone. That this just doesn't happen on its own, that it's user manipulated. Someone has to be on the phone for it to use that phone. And that she watched something, a picture, on her phone. That was deleted. You'll hear that at 4:18 a.m. She calls, remember, the evidence will tell you, 4:33. At 4:18, she deleted 2 photos from her phone. Then, folks, you'll hear that at 4:23 to 4:33 a.m., the defendant, Karina Cooper, took 170 steps in her residence. How do we know this? You'll hear from experts that the phone has an app sometimes, a health app on the phone, that when the user is walking with the phone, it records what you're doing. And that, contrary to her statement that she woke up to some noise, the phone shows that she was walking between 4:23 and 4:33, 170 steps, 393.7 feet in 10 minutes. You'll hear, folks, that that's longer than a football field. Touchdown, touchdown. Now, I told you, you'll hear that the police tried to see physical evidence that they couldn't find. They couldn't find the gun. They couldn't find the gun that had been used to kill Ryan Cooper in that residence. That Ryan Cooper was dead, 2 bullet holes on his face, and the gun missing. But the police found something that was significant and helpful. Remember those shell casings. No fucking ifs and buts. Remember those shell casings. She forgot to pick one of the shell casings. The evidence will show that the police found one shell casing. Ryan Cooper was shot by a 22. Size of the shell casing. Police found that. Police dig into their lives, they find that they get statements of the threats that she'd made to Ryan. They find that the defendant, Karina Cooper, was in financial trouble. She didn't have any money. You'll hear evidence from someone from the bank who used to work with her. And you'll hear that he would be nagging Karina to make sure that she was not overdrafted. There'll be numerous text messages that you will see that in the days and the months leading up to Ryan's death, this man will text Karina and say, please, you're overdrafted again, put in some money. And she will give an excuse after another excuse after another excuse. You are overdrafted. Please put in $200, $300, something. You're on the overdraft list again. Now, talked about the timeline. We talked about the evidence you'll see in regards to the timeline that the police are told that this is what happened. And I told you that a story was full of holes. And some of those you'll hear from the blood. You'll hear that the blood in the scene tells a story. The blood was not consistent with the story that the Karina was trying to sell to the cops. And what did the blood show? That almost every officer came in. 2 officers who come in. The first officer is there at 4:42 in the morning. So 4:33 she calls. Aaron Cooper is the first person, that's Brian's brother, first person to arrive. Because remember, she calls Aaron before she calls 911. She's found Aaron's brother bleeding on the recliner, and instead of calling 911, she calls Aaron first. Aaron arrives, you'll hear from the timeline, from the evidence, that he arrives around 4:39 in the morning. Aaron will tell you that the blood did not appear red, like bright red, like just blood that just came out immediately. It appeared darker. It's been out for a while. First officer, Deputy Fengman, will tell you that his first observation is the blood was coagulating. It was drying. From his experience, that the blood had been spilling for a longer time. You'll hear from a blood reconstruction expert who will talk to you more about how blood spatter and how blood behaves when it comes out of a human body. And folks, some of you have common sense, some of you have hunted. You'll see that evidence, part of the instructions that Judge Larson will give you is to apply your common sense, believability, credibility, in this case, to reach a verdict. Now, talked about finances, you'll hear from a medical examiner, the pathologist. She'll tell you that Ryan Cooper was shot at close range, within 3 or 4 feet. That there was tippling, but she'll tell you what that means, that there was tippling on his face. That means that the gun that shot him was close enough. Someone comfortable enough to be close enough to him, sleeping on the recliner, shooting him on his face. Now you'll hear that Ryan used to sleep on the recliner in the living room, their living room door. Right by the door. We talked about the evidence will tell you there was no sign of forced entry in this house. Now, you'll hear evidence, and we've talked about this, but you'll hear evidence of the cover-up, which is part of that would be the Snapchat messages. You'll hear evidence of the attempted cover-up. And you'll hear that there were evidence of searches, numerous searches on Houston Denker's phone. You'll hear that Houston Denker and Karina had been talking about replacing her husband, Ryan Cooper, as the father to their children. They have 3 children, Cade, Kebu, and Cortland. You'll hear that there were conversations of him being the dad, and that she'll refer to Ryan as just the sperm donor. You'll hear that Houston Denker was gearing up for this role of the dad and even looking up for Father's Day 2021. Now you'll hear that Houston Denker had a lot of searches that the officers were able to retrieve from his phone. Some of them were.
Well, guys, we have an objection. You know, typically during opening and closing statements, they try not to object unless it's something like really important, only because they don't want to break the momentum of their statements, right? And the jurors are supposed to remember that nothing that the prosecution or the defense provides in opening statements or closing statements is actual evidence, that they have to look at that testimony and things that are actually brought into court versus to listening to the opening statements. The opening statements as fact, right? So the opening statements are and closing statements are just roadmaps to tell them what they're going to present. It's very important that, you know, as we're listening to these opening statements, you know, that we're looking for the Snapchat messages, the deleted messages, the witnesses, everything that the prosecution is presenting to us that they're going to be able to provide throughout this trial. Once the prosecution is done, then of course we'll get the defense that'll be able to get up and say what the prosecution is not going to be able to show, right? Or how they're going to proceed with their case. And those are things that we can keep to kind of give us a roadmap on what things will be presented in this case. So it's interesting, typically, like as far few in between that we see objections during this period of time. Typically each party is able to kind of like go through and do their opening statements, but unfortunately in this one we do have a sidebar, right? So they were trying to say something in regards to these messages and searches, well, these searches that were recovered from Houston Denker's phone, right? And the defense like objection. So we'll see if he's able to provide that information still in his opening statements, or if he's going to have to kind of like do something different versus to putting that, to stating that. And they definitely want to stay away from any evidence in their opening statements that they're not going to be able to provide in the trial. Because yeah. So Benny says, I wonder what her defense will be. What could it be? Yeah, Benny, I don't know. That's why I told you, as I was looking at the case and trying to research, I'm like, what is they trying to say? What, she was found on top of his body. You hear me grunting? Like, okay, I'm gonna mute up.
With the court's permission, may I proceed? Thank you. You'll hear evidence that Houston Denker made incriminating searches on his phone. Lots of incriminating searches. Some appear to have been made way before Ryan Cooper's death, and some were made the day of Ryan Cooper's death, and the following days and weeks after Ryan Cooper's execution. You'll hear that these searches were incriminating. You'll hear that the defendant deleted her search history. You will hear that a day or so after she helped with the execution of her husband, that she deleted. She logged into a Snapchat account through another means and deleted it because the phone had been seized by the cops, and deleted her account, hoping that there will be no trace found. Now, we talked about the gun, the smoking gun. The smoking gun that was not found at the scene. The smoking gun that we know the size of the caliber weapon that it was, because they found that shell casing, one of those shell casings. That smoking gun could not stay hidden forever. Sometimes later, a friend of Houston Denker's, colleague, someone that he used to work with briefly, pops up to the cops and says, Houston Denker gave me some guns to keep for him. Can you take them? And lo and behold, of course, they test these guns. You'll hear that gun expert who will come and talk to you from the DCI crime lab in Ankeny. And that expert will tell you that when they tested these guns, they found the gun that had been used to murder Ryan Cooper as he slept on his recliner. That one of the guns that was given to this friend of Houston Denker was the firearm that was used to kill Ryan Cooper. Now, folks, at the end of this trial, you will receive instructions from the court. You will receive instructions that, as we discussed during jury selection, talks about the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Overruled, you can continue.
Receive evidence that talk of the burden that you need to apply to this case. Those facts that you've heard, those facts that you will hear as testimony by witnesses who will take that seat and talk to you in this courtroom, you will see exhibits and any stipulations between the parties, which are agreements between the parties, that you will have to go back with you to apply those facts to the law given to you by the judge in this particular case. The evidence, you will see, it will show that Karina Cooper was not just an unfaithful wife. She was not just a wife who wanted, as a text message will show you, to leave Traer, Iowa for a better life in a sunnier place with a younger man. The evidence will show you that she was not just dishonest, but that she was manipulative, that she's a co-conspirator. You will get an instruction to apply on aiding and abetting. That she aided, that she abetted, that this crime from the evidence that you'll see, that Ryan Cooper dies by her involvement absolutely 100%, like she said. She was in this absolutely 100%. You'll see that she's a planner. The evidence will show that she is a murderer. And for that, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we will ask you at the end of this trial to hold Karina Cooper accountable for planning and carrying out her husband's murder hand in hand with her lover. We will ask you to look at the evidence, the text, the blood, and apply common sense. We submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, that the evidence in this case will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she is guilty, and we will ask you to return that verdict. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. So we got deleted searches. We have didn't clean up the entire scene, right, with the casings and the bullets. Whoa. What do y'all think about the prosecution's case so far? Like their opening statements, was it impactful? Right, Anna said she's still mad about the sentencing of the last trial. Alexia, yeah. I think that was a shocker in regards to that one. Excuse me. So yeah, wow. Like, although we couldn't hear the beginning part of his opening statements because he wasn't talking into the mic, right? So from what we heard, guys, what do you think? Like, what are your thoughts in regards to him? I am going to drop some questions in there in regards to it to keep us actively involved while we're watching this trial. Because remember, this is like a mystery. And I'm telling you, she's over there. She does not have a good poker face, right? I can't tell if she looking guilty, if she hurt, or she feeling some type. I don't know what it is at this point in time, but she definitely looking over there with not a good poker face. Biddy says she sure is looking good. Right. She know. I mean, like her and this man, they got text messages and things of that nature. Like they plan their life together, and they saying Ryan just gonna be the sperm donor. And what? Like, really? Okay, this is what we doing here. And remember, she is accused. Allegedly, she told 2 people that she was that she could shoot him in his face. Now, how does that happen? Right? If she did this, she should have planned this out a lot differently, right? After telling people that. So, like, really? Hey, Faith, welcome. Glad you're here. Welcome back. Yeah, so this is like okay. So y'all tell me, do y'all think that when he's telling you, and I'll post it in the chat as we get ready for the defense's opening statements, but I want to know your thoughts in regards to his opening statements. Like, if you were the prosecutor, what would you have depended on in your opening statements? Would it have been the same way? Would you have said something differently to the jury to kind of do your roadmap? And also, like, what do y'all think is going to be important in regards to this when we're looking at this case, far as the chats? Is it going to be the scene, or is it going to be the witnesses? Like, what's going to make or break this case? And I guess, even when because I have not came to a full understanding myself on what the defense is going to be. Like, what are they going to say? It can't be self-defense, right? Oh, if it was self-defense, boy, wouldn't she be a good witness on the stand? Right. Oh my gosh, could y'all imagine that? Oh, I absolutely love when the defendant testifies. I don't know about you guys, but that gets me excited. Yeah, Anna, we just heard the prosecution's opening statement. We are about to listen to the defense's opening statement. So we're going to see what her defense is trying to present and what they're talking about. Yeah, I have no clue, but let's go ahead and tune in, because I am really, really, I guess I don't want to say excited, right? I don't want to use excited. I'm really anxious to kind of know exactly what her defense is going to be, so we can kind of see what we should be seeing from the defense. Okay, guys, I'm going to take us back in so we can hear the defense. The prosecution just ended their statement, and we'll kind of go from there.
Ms. Watt?
Look at her. She look a mess. I mean, a hot mess.
Houston Danker. Houston Danker. Houston Danker killed Ryan Cooper. Houston Danker shot Ryan Cooper in the face. Houston Danker solicited Karina. Houston Danker manipulated Karina. Houston Danker lured Karina. Houston Danker had Karina living in a dream world. Houston Danker killed Ryan Cooper. You're going to see some Snapchats. You're going to see some pictures. You're going to see conversations about IVF. Dream world. IVF, she's got her tubes tied. Houston Danker killed Ryan Cooper. Karina Cooper was in a dream world, and then it became real, and then she was in too deep. She did not want her husband dead. She did not want his life insurance money. You'll see, you'll hear, the money's still there in trust for her children. Nobody rode off into the sunset to the mountains. Houston Danker killed Ryan Cooper. Please, as you hear the evidence in this case, keep an open mind. Don't rush to judgment. And at the end, we'll ask that you find her not guilty.